Me when a friend asks if I'm free for a quick chat.
Who dares disrupt my solitude? All I ask is that I be left alone, that I might cope with the very mysteries of the universe.
Me hanging on to my pride and dignity when a woman rejects me.
Right, that's it. I hate you. Ow! Goodbye forever. I hope you die horribly.
And this was me at my annual performance review when I worked in a call centre.
Well, because mostly I don't really want to speak to people.
Do you ever answer the phone?
No, I never answer the phone. No, never.
Hello guys, welcome back to the show. Today we're going to look at a number of things actually. Beware of these fragrance red flags. We're going to look at things to beware of, fragrance red flags, and also I'm going to give you red flags in relationships. I'm trying to do a fragrance channel here that gives you fragrances plus a little bit more. We're saying I'm no longer part of the conventional fragrance community here on the channel. I am very much still a fragrance channel, but it's fragrances plus, and we're going to talk about fragrances in the context of making the best of yourself, and that can include doing well and doing the right thing when it comes to dating and relationships. If you like that concept, if you like that I'm doing something different, please subscribe. There isn't. You just press the subscribe button. There's no link, but there is a link for this. If you want to buy fragrance samples in the USA, Canada, or Puerto Rico, please go to myfragrancesamples.com. Link in the description. Great place to get your fragrance samples, designer and niche, over there in North America. One very quick thing, and I will mention this later in the video one more time briefly. Chypre Fulminare by Norton & Wilson is back in stock in the USA and Canada. Link down there. Don't miss it. What a stunning fragrance. Our third release, that one. Okay, let's get on with it. Fragrances. Okay, let's talk about fragrance red flags. Things to watch out for with fragrances. Here's a couple of things that I think you should avoid when you're picking a great fragrance to buy or to wear. Okay, number one. Super well-known fragrances. Super well-known fragrance smells are probably something I would try to avoid now. There are a number of fragrances out there that everybody's smelled. Personally, for me, old things like La Mal from Jean Paul Gaultier, quite like it, but it's too recognisable. I just don't think it gives you enough individual character. Everybody out there has smelled people in the old days who smelled like this. More relevant to many of our audience today, Dior Sauvage, far too well known of a smell. All the different flankers have that similar DNA, and I can smell it. I've smelled it people. It kind of permeates the whole aisle at the supermarket when someone is wearing this one, and it's just not, although the fragrance itself has something to be said for it, it's too recognizable, it's too popular. So for me, that is a fragrance red flag. I would avoid that. Number two, I will be giving you some fragrances that I really like, that I recommend, three in fact in this video. So every video I give you will have fragrance recommendations as well as other stuff. Two, this is a funny one actually, something that's actually too strong, a fragrance with too much performance, a fragrance that performs really, really well. I've got to be honest, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. It's a bit of a red flag. So if you're getting loads of compliments on a fragrance, this may sound counterintuitive, but sometimes that could actually, people can say, oh wow, you smell nice, but it just means that sometimes they're actually thinking, oh my god, you're wearing a lot of aftershave, you've sprayed on too much cologne. So if something keeps getting noticed too much, you're either spraying too much, or it could be that it's just too much of a nuclear fragrance. Most people don't really want to be overwhelmed by your smell. So I have to be honest there. This can be a red flag if something is nuclear or beast mode. Not necessarily something you want. Okay, last one. Another red flag for me. If it's priced over around about, let's say, $300 USA, or no, let's say $350 USA, or £300 roughly in the UK. That kind of price. I think that's a bit of a red flag, really. It's you're really not at this point. You can buy Creed fragrances for less than that, not much less, but you can, and it's just getting a bit ridiculous at that point. You really are being taken for a ride. So I think fragrances over that kind of price. I'm not saying there aren't exceptions if you really buy into that brand and you love it so much, but generally speaking, you're not really going to get anything better than the ones at $100 or £100 less. This is a red flag that they really are. They're taking the piss a bit with that. So I'd say red flag over the £350 mark for a bottle of perfume, 100ml. Nah, not really great. Okay, let me give you three great fragrances I really love. I have referenced this in my last video. Creed's Irolfa, amazing, beautiful, fresh fragrance. I really love this stuff. It's a 1992 release, £245, so expensive, but just about within reach for 100ml. Amazing citrus aromatic fragrance, very, very bright, breezy lemon, bergamot opening. There's a melon note in there, and this kind of has that sea spray thing. That's the feel of the ozonic sea air in a really good way. Creed's famous ambergris in there too, some lovely floral tones, including jasmine. This is just an amazing, wonderful, I think really strong performing, fresh, citrus, floral, aromatic type of fragrance. Great for a man or a woman, I think marketed more towards men. I get very good performance. Mine's a reasonably recent bottle. I think an amazing fragrance that is definitely not a red flag, is worth spending a little bit of extra money on. If you want something cheap, also fresh, for about £27 in the UK, Calvin Klein Eternity for Men. I really do like the way this one smells. I'll list off the notes for this one just for a change. Lavender, lemon, bergamot, mandarin, sage, juniper, basil, geranium, coriander, jasmine, orange blossom, lily of the valley, lily not of the valley, sandalwood, vetiver, musk, Brazilian rosewood, that's my favourite type of rosewood, and amber. This one is a beautiful fresh fragrance. Takes some cues, or has, some things a little bit similar to Davidoff's Cool Water or even Creed's Green Irish Tweed, but its own sort of really pleasant, fresh, green, semi-aquatic kind of aura of a beautiful kind of breezy freshness and optimism about this one. I think it has a dihydromercenol accord, which is a very recognisable accord. Again, maybe you can compare it to things like Platinum Egoist, same year of release, 1990. I think this is a great cheapie for the office, everyday wear. Eternity, Calvin Klein, definitely no. Don't beware of that one. Don't avoid that one. It's good. And finally, we have one more. My own brand here, Chypre Fulminare from Norton & Wilson, is now back in stock. Insanely, ridiculously too cheap price. $95 price. No, £95 shipped and $120 in the USA. That is insane. This one has notes of ylang-ylang, lemon, lime, orange, incense, pepper, leather, vetiver, oak moss, labdanum, ambergris, and castoreum. The perfumer John Stephen has just done an incredible job on this very, very rich, powerful, potent fragrance. It has freshness. It has the beautiful contrast between the bitterness of the oak moss and the resinous qualities of the labdanum incense. Absolutely superb, and that leathery castoreum element in the mid and base. Absolute powerhouse, brilliant fragrance. A powerhouse for the 21st century, maybe. So those are some great recommendations. Now let's get into a slightly different off-topic thing. Again, I'm being brave here, doing things other than fragrance. Let me know if you like that. Maybe you don't. Okay. 4 things to watch out. Red flags in dating and or relationships. But I'm talking probably dating scenarios, but it probably counts pretty much in a relationship. But if you've been in a relationship a while, hopefully you would have noticed these problems earlier, but they can still count. Okay, number 1, love bombing. What does that mean? It's when someone is over the top. This is particularly, actually, this counts only really in the early stages. If someone is OTT in the amount of love and affection that they give you in very early stages of dating, to the point where it feels almost inappropriate. So if they're, telling you that they love you, or that you're the best person they've ever met in their life on the second date, or planning your life together, or asking you to move in with them. This can, I guess, if you're really, really keen to meet someone in a way that can feel flattering, but it's a real red flag, okay? If something is happening where it just feels unnatural, non-organic to the level of familiarity that you've yet developed with that person, then they could be somebody who's love bombing you. Now, is it possible to fall head over heels in someone at first sight or on the first or second date and it all works out fine? Yeah, maybe. But I think the vast majority of the time, this is a sign that this person has a bit of some kind of issues in the way that they relate to people. They're a bit desperate. Maybe they're trying to trap you. They want you to feel invested in the relationship. Maybe they want you to feel that you've agreed to commit yourself to a level that just isn't comfortable or natural for you at this stage in the relationship. So beware people who are too affectionate, too over the top in the very early stages of the relationship. It could be a giant red flag, okay? You shouldn't be talking about moving in with someone in the first few weeks of seeing someone, okay? That comes after months, if not even longer. You shouldn't be talking too much about words like love and that your boyfriend and girlfriend in the first 2, 3, 4 dates. In my humble opinion, let me know what you think about that. Number 2, red flag number 2, dating controlling behavior, okay? Controlling behavior is very common between people, and it's always a bad sign. It doesn't tend to go away or get better, and you don't want that in your life, okay? So, unwarranted jealousy in relationships. Maybe this is a little bit further down when you've been dating a while, okay? So if someone is accusing you or making you feel that they believe that you're cheating on them when you know you've done nothing wrong, maybe that something happened and they've got good reason to feel that way. Any one of these flags on its own, not necessarily the end of the world, but could be a sign really that there is something a bit iffy about this person and they have a controlling type personality. You do not want that in a relationship, okay? if it feels some of the kinds of things that can happen, okay, if they're sort of telling you how you should dress, or if they seem to have an issue with you seeing your friends, maybe every Wednesday night is card game night with you and the lads, you and the boys, okay, and they're trying to ask you in the early stages or any stage of the relationship to cancel that on a regular basis and making you feel like it's a choice between them and your friends. This kind of stuff is kind of controlling behavior, trying to distance you from friends and family. Happens a lot in relationships, even with people who overall have many good qualities. Controlling stuff ain't good. Anything, if it feels wrong, it probably is. Remember that, guys. Okay, number 3, it's kind of, I mentioned friends and family a second ago. If your friends and family, close friends and family, don't like this person and don't have good feedback to you about what they think of them, having met them, maybe your friends and family are wrong. Maybe you have issues with your friends and family. But if one or two of them, more than one, people that you know are good friends, good close family members who've got your back, have your best interests at heart, if they agree on this and they're not kind of keen on your partner or the person you're seeing, it could be a red flag. So watch out for this. Try and listen to people who really care about you, people you know will be there for you through thick and thin. Even if one relationship comes and another one goes and they come and go, these people will be there for you permanently in your life, and they do care about you if you're lucky. And if they have a strong dislike of someone, well, you've got to make your own decision, but it is a red flag, and I do watch out for that kind of thing. It's happened to me. This advice, by the way, comes partly from my own, very much does come from my own experience over many years of relationships. I'm not currently officially in any kind of relationship, but it comes from many years of ups and downs, good points and many, many bad points. So learn from my mistakes, okay? Family and friends don't like someone, bad sign. Last but not least, blowing hot and cold, if you pardon the expression. So if someone is very inconsistent, that is not a good thing. I would far rather be someone that is reasonably kind, considerate and caring on a consistent basis, but doesn't necessarily always come out with the most overblown statements of love and affection. I would rather that than somebody who is absolutely full of passion and amour and lovingness and sexual passion and all this, and then maybe has other days when they are absolutely going nuts at you, calling you every name under the sun, accusing you of all kinds of strange things, telling you you've ruined their life. I don't want hot and cold to that extent. So if someone is really blowing hot and cold, it's from extreme passion, extreme devotion, almost putting you on a pedestal, and then maybe on other occasions they're calling you bad names, abusing you, that kind of thing. This is absolutely disastrous. Don't get hooked into that horrible cycle. People say makeup sex is the best and all that kind of crap, but it ain't worth the kind of stress that it may be going with. So guys, I would look for someone who's like lukewarm water in the middle between fire and ice, to be honest with you. That's my take on this. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like my new direction, still a fragrance channel, it's Fragrance Plus. Please subscribe to the show. I'll leave it there. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. And although sometimes life may stink, at least we can always smell good. See you next time. Bye-bye.